Give me a few seconds to get this live. Alright, we are officially live on Facebook. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another exciting round of... Alright, we are officially live on Facebook. What is up, everyone? Welcome to another exciting round of... Let me actually be smarter and mute that so I can't hear myself talk. I'm sure most of you guys are probably tired of hearing me talk anyways. But that's okay. All right. All right. What is up, everyone? We are officially live in the Amazon FBA Ninja Black Belt group and Facebook as well. So I'm going to be answering questions in the Amazon FBA Black Belt group, which is the private student group for all of my amazing course members and students. So I'm going to quickly check on YouTube until people kind of get online. I see there's about 25 people now watching the Black Belt group. So whenever you guys have questions, I'll come back and start answering those. But in the meantime, I'm going to check out a few people on YouTube. And we only started on YouTube about 10 seconds ago, so there's not that many people watching yet. We do have one question about the affiliate marketing video I made. So somebody's asking, can you describe what affiliate marketing is in a metaphor? Yeah, sure. So affiliate marketing, let's think about affiliate marketing as if there's three people in a room, okay? Barack Obama, Donald Trump, and Jeff Bezos are in a room. Barack Obama just came up with this amazing new course on how to be a good president, right? He's selling this course. Jeff Bezos, being the amazing businessman he is, realizes that there's buyers out there, but doesn't want to kind of put the time or the effort in, or maybe he doesn't have the know-how how to create a course about how to be president. So instead of creating that course like Barack Obama, Jeff Bezos instead takes advantage of the amazing affiliate program that Barack Obama offers and connects Barack Obama and Donald Trump, sells Donald Trump the course on how to be a president, and takes the affiliate commission. So Barack Obama creates the course, gets 75% of the money. Jeff Bezos finds a buyer of the course who is Donald Trump, gets 25% of the money, and Donald Trump is the buyer of the course on how to be a good president, which, you know, some people would say that he desperately needs. So I hope that makes sense. I know affiliate marketing is kind of complicated at first, but really just think about it like, you know, you're selling someone else's product. It doesn't cost any money to get started, right? Pretty much all you have to know how to do is market, and the video I showed you guys hits the main two, right? Facebook advertising and creating kind of reviews or, you know, some type of expose on YouTube talking about this specific product gets people interested, and then again, putting the right keywords into YouTube, creating the right backlinks, right, ranking for the correct words, and you are going to eventually get some sales that way. So there's a few more people signing on now. I'm doing this at a different time because I felt bad. I've always been doing these at times that are convenient for people in the US, but I do have a lot of international students, so I wanted to do it at a time where more of the international students could be a part of the live feed rather than, you know, always having it in the middle of the night in like the UK and places like that. So when to start PPC after your product arrives. I usually start PPC, it depends on how competitive the product is. Normally I try to get 3 to 5 reviews as quickly as possible, right? Like the day that my stuff arrives, I'm giving away 3 products, you know, or I have a few contacts that I use for product launches now to get verified reviews, right? So we're usually selling them at full price. and we are reimbursing those people, like most people do, which is against terms of service. But we usually get 3 to 5 verified reviews, and then we start PPC kind of full tilt while we're running our keyword product launch. Right, so when we launch our products, we do a manual giveaway targeting specific keywords. The most related, highest volume keywords is what we're targeting, and that is how we are having people find our products. Right, so instead of actually clicking on a link, they are actually searching, stainless steel jumbo garlic press, and they put in enough words so that our specific product appears on page 1, and then they click on our product and buy, and that kind of manipulates Amazon's algorithm into thinking that somebody typed in those keywords and then bought, which assigns relevancy of those keywords to our product, which gives us organic rank for the keywords that are most related to our specific product, which will get us organic sales, which is basically the whole point of Amazon FBA. Do you still get charged for storage at Amazon warehouse if you don't sell anything? No, of course not. You only get charged storage fees for what you're storing in Amazon FBA warehouses. Love you, Kevin. What's up, Nick? I love you too. Hey Kevin, love your course in this group. How much can we add to an existing listing and keep it as the same listing? For example, add an ebook, an accessory, etc. to the bundle to improve it, but still get the same listing so you don't have to start all over again. Ideally, you do the whole bundle to start with, but I have a product that is selling well but needs a boost to get to the top listing, so wondering if I can add an accessory to the main product. So this is a good question. The answer is not set in stone. Basically, you'll get an ASIN notification change, or an ASIN change notification. So I've gotten them before, right? Like if you change like your main pictures, let's say that you have a picture that you've been using for a while, but you have like a second photo shoot done, right? And you want to change your hero image to be this better shot, but it makes the product look slightly different. Amazon will send you an ASIN change notification email basically saying like, hey, we noticed that this ASIN changed, just so you can't sell a product, get 1,000 reviews on it, and then change to a completely different product, right? Amazon has provisions in place where they prevent that from happening, but if you are just changing an indirect portion of the product, keeping the main aspects of the product the same, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. You could always check in with seller support, and they might say that if there's a material enough change to the overall product itself that you would need to create a new listing. If that's the case, then I wouldn't risk the health of the listing just to add kind of a complementary product. So you might want to check in with seller support on that one, Ben. But if it's something really minor, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Hey Kevin, thanks for the UK friendly time. Yeah, of course. I mean, I want to try to be as fair as possible to all my different students. I recognize that now that we have, more people in the Ninja family, that I want to cater to everyone rather than just the folks in the USA, which is why we're doing this earlier time. Q4 lockout. Is there a definite policy you know of for FY17? Elliot, no. Unfortunately, I don't know. I don't think Amazon has even decided yet. They kind of initiated that within the last few years, and they are changing their policies as Amazon often does. What Elliot means, for those of you who don't know what the Q4 lockout is, last year, I think it was October 19th, Amazon basically said no new seller accounts could send inventory in, and this was just to maintain the sanity and the integrity of Amazon during Q4, which is obviously their busiest time of the year, and so they didn't want a bunch of new sellers coming in, making a bunch of mistakes, and creating a bunch more work for them. And so the question is, what's going to happen this year if there is going to be a Q4 lockout? The answer is Amazon doesn't know yet. But if I had to take a guess, right, an educated guess, I would say that if you have an active Amazon FBA seller account, right, you're not suspended, as new accounts normally do get suspended until you provide that more information to prevent a lot of the fake Chinese hijacker accounts. So if you have an active account in good standing, and you've created a listing and you have products on the way, and they're bound to arrive, at least some of them, before that cutoff date, right? If it was me and it was getting kind of close, I might send one carton via DHL to Amazon of products. So if I sent one carton and then I had like the other 99 cartons come via sea, depending on how inexpensive or expensive it is to ship versus air versus sea, I might send one carton just to be on the safe side before that, that mid-October cutoff date, just to be safe so I didn't get locked out for Q4, because as everyone knows, Q4 is the fun time of Amazon. What's up, Veronica? Is this where we ask questions? Yes, it is. How do we get our ninja shirts? So to get a ninja shirt, as of right now, you have to join the Ninja Hall of Fame. So the Ninja Hall of Fame was just this fun little thing that we set up basically for any student who reaches the $1,000 in one day in revenue mark. You become a member of the Ninja Hall of Fame. And when you become a member of the Ninja Hall of Fame, you are entitled to a Amazon FBA Ninja t-shirt. I'm a little behind on that, but for anybody out there who has hit that $1,000 a day mark and is a part of the course, definitely reach out to me. I'll put your picture up and a little expose about your Amazon journey, and I will get a t-shirt out to you. Hey Kevin, do you use a purchase contract / sales contract to close a deal? Do you also sign NDAs with suppliers in China? When I was first starting, I was super worried about that, Chris. NDAs they give you a false sense of security, right? If a Chinese manufacturer wanted to do something, they would do it. It's very difficult to sue somebody with international courts and international treaties and international law differences and things like that. Most people aren't going to take a flight out to China and try to find a factory to enforce something, and everyone kind of understands that. But if an NDA makes you feel better, then do it. It can't hurt. It's like an extra 30 minutes to get it done. And if it prevents somebody from potentially sharing some of your IP, then it's worth it. Yes, I do use purchase contracts and sales contracts for my orders out of China. I recently wrote up a purchase order agreement and shared it with the Black Belt group that you can basically just plug and play what your specific product is. You can just change, the highlighted portions for yours. It covers a lot of things like, having to pay for re-inspections. It covers, things related to timeliness when it comes to the actual order itself, right? Because you don't want things to go super over budget from a time perspective. So just including clauses about time, quality, about, failure rate, acceptable failure rate, quality, and things like that usually is a good idea. And 1 second, guys. All right, so another question. We're ranking 1 to 3rd organic on our main keywords. We're about to stock out and we'll be out for 1 to 2 weeks. Air shipment leaves today from China. Do you think we'll be okay with our BSR? So the answer to this question, Veronica, is if you can restock within a 2-week period, give or take a few days, right? But 14 days is the sweet spot. If you are going to stock out, a lot of people their natural inclination is to just raise the price higher and higher and higher and higher, right, to prevent themselves from stocking out. But that's actually the exact opposite of what you want to do, and I'll tell you why. Amazon grandfathers in your last BSR ranking before stocking out, and then you reinitiate that rank when you stock in. So if you keep raising your price higher and higher and higher, if you're about to stock out, your BSR gets lower and lower gets higher and higher and higher, which is worse, right? Because less people are buying it because it's more expensive, so your BSR gets worse and worse and worse. And then when you restock in, then you come back with that worse BSR because people were buying it so much less because it was so much more expensive. What you should do is, if you're about to stock out, keep everything exactly the same, right? Maintain that super good BSR, and then when you stock back in, if it's within 2 weeks, give or take a few days, you'll come back at that same BSR level, and you'll take off basically right where you left off. Do you recommend giving away products at a loss to match sales of the #1 rank? Will this eventually allow me to take the #1 organically and stay there? Yeah, unfortunately, that's kind of part of the game, Rich. So when I launch products, I factor in, a giveaway budget and a product launch budget. You have to basically lose money at the beginning to get onto page 1, and then if you have a reasonable amount of reviews and you have a high quality product with professionally done images and things like that, you will maintain that rank on page 1. But the hardest part obviously is getting to page 1, and a lot of people don't want to give away enough products to get to that that page 1 where everyone wants to be. And if you won't give away enough products, then you're going to suffer in the end because you won't get all of the organic sales. You won't maintain the momentum. And so a big difference between, very successful sellers and sellers that are not as successful is the willingness to, lose a little bit of money up front to make more money in the end. So yes, you do absolutely have to give away products at a loss when you're initially launching a product to try to get to that organic page 1. And then once you have a few reviews and you have a quality product, obviously assuming, then you will maintain that rank. Do we need to be worried about the manufacturer selling the same product for 30% cheaper? We are doing well with our add-ons and bundles making more value, but curious on your experience with this. I mean, this is a very logical question to ask, Veronica, but it's actually not a huge issue. Creating an Amazon listing and doing what's necessary to create a high quality listing from an indexing perspective, right? Writing bullets and descriptions and titles and iterating them based off, your search term report and creating PPC campaigns all in English is incredibly difficult for Chinese manufacturers to do. And so you'd kind of think that they'd have this capability, but they really don't, right? If they had, English speakers ready and on hand, they'd have them as salespeople, and basically no manufacturers in China have, sales reps that actually speak good English. So they also don't have, Amazon FBA experts who speak great English in a way that would allow them to compete, on the same scale that native English speakers do, and that we especially do, with a lot more of the advanced tactics than what's readily available to the general public. Should I fill in all keywords fields? One Amazon seller that told me that they only fill in one filed with keyword. Okay, so I think this question is basically asking, should I fill in all 5 rows of the keyword slots, or is it only 250 characters that are indexing in the backend keywords? So I talked about this in the video that the new video that I released in the course last night when we were talking about how to create hugely profitable automatic campaigns. So if you're creating automatic campaigns, they're drawing from the backend keywords. That's why I'm talking about PPC. But to answer your question, no. It's absolutely not true that they're indexing only 250 characters. I literally just showed in the video that I released to the students last night that the listing that I was showing you guys how to optimize was indexing for like 350 or something like that. They may eventually roll that out, and maybe they're doing it, one seller at a time, which is why some people think that it is enacted, but it's certainly not the case for everyone as of right now. iTrack 999 is often not applicable because of max quantity is limited. What alternatives do we have? Seems like this one is growing and growing. So this is one of the most common questions that I get, Chris. The answer to this question is, the best thing you can do is iTrack their competitor, right? So if the person in organic position 1 has a max quantity set, look at 2. If they have it, look at 3, look at 4. If there's no one that doesn't have that max quantity restriction, so you can't see any type of iTrack 999 cart trick numbers, then the best alternative you can do is use the ASINs of those competitors that do have max quantity set and input them into camel sales rank chart. And it'll show you a sustained, very low BSR, right? A very good BSR. If it shows you a sustained good BSR for, a number of months or a year, then you can think with a certain level of confidence that that specific product is selling well. It is, in fact, maintaining that really high quality BSR rank. Additionally, you can use the Jungle Scout estimator, right? junglescout.com/estimator with the ASIN, and it will give you a very, general estimate of how many units are selling per day for that specific category and subcategory. And so those are 2 ways. Camel is definitely the one that I use more often and is a little bit more, dependable. Hey Kevin, newbie question. So I found this product seems very decent with the Jungle Scout numbers. Currently eye tracking it, but all sellers are literally selling the same product and nothing different. Just want to get some opinions as would it still be a good idea to pursue? So all of my students know that I always preach to my death, never just copy something. There's no reason to do it. If you're just exactly copying something just because it has, a good-looking competitive landscape, right? It has low images, it has low reviews, and the landscape looks right for the picking. Never ever just copy something. There's no reason to. Why would someone in a million years buy your brand new product that has 0 reviews or 5 reviews or 10 reviews versus somebody who already has 100 reviews and already has a better rank than you? You have to be able to differentiate. And if you truly don't want to add value to the product in some way by making it better from a design perspective, adding some type of bundling to it, increasing or bettering some negative aspect that people are complaining about with one-star reviews. There's a ton of different ways that you can create more value for products, but if you really truly don't want to, at least look for, a page one for some type of product niche where everyone just has one picture and they're all, terrible quality taken on their phone with bad lighting, and the listings are done poorly, and your value at the very least can be creating a significantly better listing. But I always recommend thinking about how you can add value to the customer. And good ways to figure out what that can be is frequently bought together to see what you might be able to bundle it with. You can look at the reviews, and you might see some one-star reviews that are all complaining about a similar thing. And with Amazon's review clouds now, they give you a cloud of keywords that are generally mentioned in the reviews. So you can you can always click the one-star reviews and then look for commonalities in what people are complaining about, and then work with the supplier to make those specific things better. How are you managing to get daily sales that match the top-ranked sellers without using services like JumpSend? Just FB review groups, willing to give away as many products as we need to on our next launch to get to the top, but still not sure how to get the volume of sales even at 95% off. So it depends on the product, right? Most people aren't going to buy toilet paper or something super boring, even if it's 95% off. But there's multiple 20,000 plus review groups. I also do have some resources that I use for my full course students. People that do kind of offer a viral launch type service where they guarantee a number of giveaways manually targeted by keywords. And I do have some groups that I work with as well for reviews, right? We have some very, very good rates for the students to get you those initial reviews, and then also to give you the viral launch type service targeting keywords to get you onto page one for your main keywords that you are targeting. So if you guys are struggling to give away enough products, make sure to reach out to me. I do have some solutions for you that will be pretty exciting. If you're doing really well, would you consider launching 2 items in the same category? Example, you see that basketballs are selling well. Would you consider launching 2 items, one small and one large, 2 different listings, not variations? Yeah, absolutely. And that's funny that you're using basketballs, because that's always my example. Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's 2 main things that you want to do on Amazon FBA, right? You want to create an account that is brand specific. So we're thinking like North Face, where they're camping, outdoorsy, they offer jackets, coats, they offer gloves, they offer everything that you'd need in an outdoor setting, which is what their brand represents. So that's one. You're making a brand account with a number of different horizontally related items, all kind of in the same or similar categories. The second objective of Amazon FBA is to create an account where you have just high margin products, right? It could be anything. You could be selling basketballs, you could be selling futons, you could be selling air conditioners, right? You could be selling blender bottles, right? It doesn't matter. What you're looking for is just any product that you can sell that has a high profit margin and sustained sales, year round. So yes, absolutely say you should definitely launch more horizontally related items in the same category. On your recommendation on sending 1 carton to prevent lockout, would you hold off on the launch strategy, giveaways, and coupons to match page 1 sales competitors until your actual bigger batch of 1,000 arrives a month later? Yeah, absolutely, because you don't want to give away. You'd need more than just 1 carton just for giveaways if it was any type of competitive product, Elliot. So. And by the time your C shipment arrived, you'd lose the initial momentum that you had gained from that giveaway anyways. So definitely not. Would having your listing activated with 1 carton in the FBA warehouses for a month with no sales for a month period hurt you, like ability to get to page 1 through keyword and BSR ranking? No, absolutely not. Once you launch your product launch sequence and you're doing what's necessary to get that momentum up, once your C shipment arrives, you'll be fine. It's not like you get some type of penalty for not having sales. And I think you'd actually be surprised. I think you might be able to get some sales through PPC, right? Even maybe through organic targeting, and you can learn a lot about your product itself while you're waiting to kind of launch that initial larger launch once your C shipment arrives. How to box 2 different products how to box two products from different suppliers to add value using an additional product. Do I have to send the products to a third party? How does it work with packaging? Yeah, so this is another question that I get asked quite often, Chris. So if you have two different suppliers, whichever one of them you have a better relationship with and trust more, have them be the main supplier, right? So have your supplier you don't trust as much or don't know as well send their part of the product bundle to your main supplier. Have your main supplier bundle it for you, right? Maybe it's a larger package that fits both items, and then it has your logo on the front, and has your UPC FNSKU on the back, and then it's good to go, right? You don't really want to use a third party if you don't have to, just because it tends to be expensive, especially in the USA. So just have them package it at your actual supplier. Do you always need to use pallets with shipping with like 500 units of a product, or is there a threshold where it's small enough to be lose cartons / boxes? I'm going to assume that you mean, do you always need to use pallets? I'm not sure what you mean by the last part, Bjorn. But so yes, or excuse me, no, you do not always have to use pallets. When you create your shipping plan in the FBA shipping plan creation portion of Seller Central, when you get to the very end, right, it'll give you your carton labels, and then if you require pallets, right, Amazon decides for you whether you have enough cartons to warrant having pallets. If you have that many cartons where Amazon says, okay, you have this many cartons, you do need to palletize, it will also give you pallet labels. And then if you want to find instructions to give to your supplier, just search Amazon FBA carton and pallet requirements, and yeah, just go from there. So each carton needs like one carton label on the side. Pallets need 4 different pallet labels and one on the top, or at least that's how it was back when I used to handle shipping. Now, thankfully, my business partner handles all the shipping for me. But yeah, it's pretty easy. Just Google search Amazon FBA carton and pallet requirements, and it has like a whole article that you can just check out and forward to your supplier. But yeah, once you finish your shipping plan, it'll tell you whether or not you just need carton labels or you need pallet labels. During your PwC Disneyland retreat, did your dish win your geography? Mine did. No, we actually got second, Elliot, which sucks because everybody on the first winning team got iPads, and we got second because my group just like sucked at cooking. I carved out like that little Mickey Mouse head and like the PwC out of like apples, and everyone else was just sucky, man. It sucks. I mean, that's the problem with corporate life. You don't have to have anything unique or special about you. You can be just another drone, right? And everyone was very drone-like, and at PwC, not everyone, but a lot of the people were, and that's what part of what drove me so feverishly to create my own business was just I never wanted to have to be around someone, right? Like there were some coworkers that I really liked, I was excited to see, catch up with, talk to, but there was some coworkers that I just didn't have anything to talk about, and we had nothing in common. We didn't really particularly care for each other, but work still forced us to be in the same dark, dingy conference room for 12 hours a day. And that's not how life's meant to be. You should never be forced to be somewhere you don't want to be. I'm getting a lot of junk and irrelevant keywords with my keyword research. I'm getting words like SpongeBob, etc. I checked with the roundtable service, and my competition is also using similar irrelevant keywords. Should I use those same irrelevant keywords? So I wouldn't necessarily deem SpongeBob irrelevant, right? Because SpongeBob can be, I don't know what your product is, Edward, so I can't give you a very detailed answer here. But sometimes you'll have words that you don't necessarily see the direct relationship with, but then once you leave them in your backend keywords and look at your search term report down the line, you'll see kind of strange combinations that these broad match keywords like SpongeBob are giving you, right? Like SpongeBob show blanket, or like SpongeBob lunchbox, or there's a bunch of different products that are related to SpongeBob, even though the word SpongeBob itself by itself might not make sense. So don't necessarily deem it irrelevant without kind of checking on the data. But if I knew what your product was, I'd be able to answer that a lot more clear. Hi, Kevin. Do you think an ebook is enough of a value add to differentiate your product from your personal experience? Slavo, unfortunately, not really. I mean, it depends what it is, right? If it's like a workout product or like a cooking product or something like that, where you're actually like giving recipes or like workout regimens, then maybe. But I've seen people who are selling stuff like, like you're selling like a garlic press or something like that with 3 cool secrets about garlic presses. It's just like something kind of like irrelevant. Like, nobody who's buying a can opener wants an ebook with the can opener, right? Like the 10 coolest things to open with a can opener. Like nobody cares about that, right? So don't force it, but if it's a natural if it's a natural fit, then yes, it can be. Kevin, are you changing your strategy with email campaigns since the opt-out changed from Amazon earlier this year? It seems to have reduced the response rate significantly. Is Zonmaster, for example, still worth it? No, I haven't changed my email campaign strategy. It doesn't really matter, right? I'm not going to change my strategy until Amazon like truly shuts it down if they do choose to, which I could definitely see them doing if enough customers complain, because they don't care about their sellers as much as they care about their customers, obviously. Until the point where they actually shut down the email follow-up usability, then I'm going to continue doing it in the same way. I still get 10 to 100 responses to the emails that I'm sending out with these campaigns that I teach how to create to get people kind of interacting, right? Because if you get somebody responding to your email, they're just 100 times more likely to actually leave you a review, because they're saying, oh, he's personally emailing this to me. Like, he actually cares. This isn't just like a big automated corporate drone, right? And so if you can get people responding in any way, shape, or form, then, it's a good thing for you. And I haven't changed my strategy yet. If it comes to a point where it's changed enough that I am forced to, I of course will update the course itself and update the students with the best strategy going forward. But for now, just keep it going the same way that you have been. What is your ethnicity? It's American. I mean, my ethnicity back in the day was mainly German. But, ethnicity is a funny word for Americans, right? Because most of us came from Europe, but people also associate with the country they're born in. Liability insurance, use it or not. Examples of products you would or would not use it on. I don't use liability insurance for most of my Amazon accounts, just because it's not necessary, right? If you're selling like a plush pillow on one account and you're selling like a set of Swiss Army knives on another, it's pretty obvious which one you'd probably want the liability insurance on, right? Pillows can be really dangerous. I'm just kidding, but yeah, I mean, you want to just think about it logically, right? If there's anything like small or that you could choke on, or babies use, or sharp, or could somehow affect somebody's actual life and the fact that they're living, right? Then you might want to consider it. Amazon does say that you are required to have $1 million of liability insurance. Whether or not most people actually do that is up to them, and Amazon definitely does not enforce it. So just make the call based on logic for yourself. If you could foresee some of your products being dangerous in some way, especially towards children, then it might be worth it. Have you ever worked with a manufacturer to install new molds? Any warnings, advice? Initial capex is not crazy, $150 each for an SKU. 10 SKUs total. My strategy is to have each manufacturer create one SKU mold and send the modified product sample, agreed to pay for that one mold installation. Could you rephrase the second part while I answer this first part, Elliot? Yes, I have created new molds, and what he means by that, right, is if you work with, let's say, like an aluminum manufacturer, and let's say you're making like a cake pan, and you want to make a cake pan in the shape of Mickey Mouse or something like that, right? They'd have to create a custom mold in their manufacturing lines to actually be able to produce that specific design on a mass scale. And so they obviously aren't going to do that for free, and so they charge you a molding fee. And so when you're paying a molding fee, you have to use your judgment again here. I've heard people give me $5,000 estimates, right? And I've heard people give me $150 estimates for the exact same thing. So don't ever take what suppliers say at face value. Always be getting 3 different completely independent quotes for not only your products, but also any additional fees like molding and things like that. And if you are going to pay for a mold, have them take that initial cost out of your mass order. They're usually happy to do that, right? They'll usually refund your sample orders, and they'll usually refund your molding fees from your full order, just as kind of a way to ensure that you are doing business with them, which makes a lot of sense both ways. I saw somewhere in the course or in the group about removing negative reviews. Is this a case of just looking out the order number if possible and then contacting them through Amazon Marketplace messages? So there's 2 things we want to keep in mind here, Ben. There's seller feedback, and then there's product reviews. Seller feedback is 100 million times easier to remove. If somebody in seller feedback says, this product sucked, like I hated it, it was the worst product ever, and gives you a 1-star review, you can message seller support and say, hey, this person posted a seller feedback about my product. It mentioned nothing about me as a seller. It was only talking about my product. Please have it removed, and they will, in fact, remove it. If they post, this product sucks, it's the worst product ever, 1-star review as a product review, not seller feedback as a product review, then, it's much, much harder to remove that. Actually asking Amazon to remove it, they almost never will. Yes, it is possible to contact them and say, hey, I saw that you left a 1-star review. I'm so sorry about the broken product or whatever the issue was. I'd be more than happy to send you a free replacement. Don't say I'd be more than happy to send you a free replacement in exchange for changing your review. Don't ever say that. Just say I'd be more than happy to send your replacement and do whatever it takes to win back your future business, or something like that. Something a little bit more vague. And then if they're a normal person, they'll say, wow, this is great customer service, and they'll change their review. Do you agree with the supplier on a penalty fee in case of the delivery date is overdue? Yeah, I definitely do. That's one of the points in my purchase agreement, Chris. I always have penalty fees for delivery dates being overdue, because manufacturers are terrible about that. They constantly run overages, right? And when you have specific deadlines you need to hit as we're approaching Q4, right? Because I know it's only August 16th, but we are getting to the point now where if you are shipping by sea and you have a relatively longer manufacturing time, we're already in kind of the final stretch, for Q4. If you're shipping by air or you're shipping a smaller order, obviously you have more time. But if you are shipping by sea and you have a larger manufacturer lead time, like 25 days or so, it is kind of becoming into the crunch time now. And so I always have penalty fee clauses about overages for manufacturing time. Is there any way to automate my Amazon keyword research? For example, get all 5 keyword fields instantly. I mean, no, of course not. Not automatically. I mean, if you watch the video that I showed last night, Edwards, that I added to the PPC module about how to make super profitable automatic PPC campaigns, right, without any type of testing, any type of iteration, any type of wasted budget, which is kind of the plagues of automated PPC campaigns. If you look at that video, how to create and how to avoid all those, over budget and terrible words and all the kind of stuff that generally comes with auto PPC campaigns, take a look at that video. It shows you exactly how to guarantee that all of your backend keywords are indexed and Amazon deems them relevant, which means that the automatic campaigns are pulling from those 100% indexed backend keywords and then creating permutations of those backend keywords in a very targeted, succinct way, which won't waste your budget and will get you profitable sales. With Vendor Express, should I take the price they're offering to get approved? I went and bought a product so I wouldn't get locked out for Q4, sent it in, and started phase 1 with automatic advertising today. I've never actually sold a product to Vendor Express, Taylor. I don't recommend it either. You lose a lot of control. They buy it at these bargain basement prices, which hardly ever are profitable for us. And I don't like giving Amazon more control than they already have. And so I don't actually ever sell them products. They've probably sent me 50 emails that say, hey, you almost finished setting up your Vendor Express account. Now you just need to send a product in. And I just never respond. I literally haven't responded for 12 months now. And they just continue to send the emails. My AMS account is still active, and I've never given them a product. So that's what I recommend. I'm going to jump into YouTube really quick. Oh my gosh. All right. Now there's a lot of questions in here. I'm going to look really quick. Is it absolutely necessary to place order via Alibaba account? What if the supplier insists on offline? I usually use Alibaba. It gives you a sense of credibility, and you want to see some history on Alibaba, like 10 years, right? It just makes it seem like they're more serious about their business, and you're less likely to kind of get screwed over, basically. Can we still take photos from iPhone 6, and does photos from the phone let you zoom in when it's on an Amazon listing? You can, yeah, but I don't recommend it, right? Get product photography professionally done. It's so cheap. You can go on Fiverr and search product photography, right? I share the Fiverr guy that I used to use before I got my new team in New Zealand. He's quite good, and he charges very fair rates, and he has a lighting studio, and he knows what he's doing with reflections and just a number of different things. Pictures are not the area that you want to skimp out on. They're incredibly important. Hi, when does Q4 start? Sorry, I just logged in. Q4 is basically just the end of the year, the last 3 months of the year, right? So It's October, November, December. Matt, do I need a separate website to promote my Amazon product using ads? No, absolutely not. I mean, the main way that you use marketing to promote Amazon products is through Amazon's internal PPC system, which you just do from Seller Central. In the advertising menu, you create campaigns right there, automatic and manual campaigns. I've heard you need to get a UPC code for each product and it can be expensive. Is this true? Well, I mean, you need one UPC code for the entire product, right? So if I'm selling a garlic press and I have 500 units that are exactly the same, I only need one UPC for all 500 units. I mean, all 500 need that same sticker, but it's just one UPC code. Hi, Kevin. What do you think about Trump trying to put a tax on e-commerce goods imported from China? I think Trump and Jeff Bezos have, a childish argument. When you're a billionaire and you're the leader of huge multinational corporations and you have been for years and years and you're one of the richest people in the world, you're used to getting what you want. And when you have a very personality kind of combating you like Jeff Bezos and Trump do, right? Obviously Bezos owns the Washington Post and they don't always publish nice things about Trump. They have a childish relationship, and now that Trump is president, right, he can be very chaotic. I think it would be incredibly difficult to enforce tariffs on Chinese manufactured goods imported into the USA, and even if he somehow managed to do that, there would be a huge backlash, and it would be incredibly difficult for him to actually push that through into legislation. And at the same time, right, even if he somehow could do it, it would take months or years to happen. So I'm not particularly worried about it as of right now. How can I make photos of my package design if I only have a sample product? Oz can. I always recommend that people, the samples that you receive should be completely finished, right? It should be your custom box. It should be your logo. Every single aspect of your sample should be 100% exactly how you intend to sell it on Amazon. I just did a video reviewing your course on the channel. Thanks for everything, man. Yeah, you're welcome, Matt. Kevin, when is the Europe/UK power seller interview coming out? It's coming out. I actually just talked to a friend today. So I actually found a guy who's almost 8 figures. So the initial guy that I was doing was 7 figures. So this guy has a lot more purview into all of the different European markets and the USA. So I decided to wait a little bit longer to get somebody who would be perfect for it. And so that is hopefully coming this week. And if not this week, then definitely next week, because I am going to Cancun this weekend. So I'm not going to be as available this weekend, but I'll definitely have it for you guys by midweek next week at the latest. I have 2,000 yoga balls branded on existing listing. Advice on getting some traction. PPC not getting any views. I mean, yoga balls and any type of yoga stuff is very competitive, right? You need large giveaway budgets. If you intend to get to page 1 for your highest volume, right, I suggest following the launch strategy that we talk about, Chris, manually targeting those keywords so you appear on page 1, manipulating or convincing Amazon's A9 algorithm into thinking that you're getting sales attributed to those specific keywords and then getting organic rank for those keywords, right? If you want more information about that, definitely check out the product launch module. It goes through very, very detailed how to get to page 1 for pretty much any product and exactly how to do it. Is it best to have one main brand and then several sub-brands for different horizontal products, or how many brands without a main holding? I generally recommend one brand account where it's North Face, or think like Nike, right, where it's shoes and athletic wear, and then I recommend having one account that has just high margin products, right? Amazon will allow you to have 2 Seller Central accounts generally. I do have a template that I use that my students basically just copy and paste directly into Seller Central. I even have the email that you have to send it to, and pretty much every single one of them who's asked for a second account has been approved for it using this template. What do you think of Tanner Fox's course? I have nothing bad to say about Tanner at all. I think he's a cool guy. I mean, he reached out to me via email the other day, and we were having a good time together. So I think it's really impressive what he's done from a marketing perspective at his age. And I've never taken his course personally, but yeah, definitely ask other people what they think and do the research for yourself, right? I never recommend taking what anyone says at face value on the internet, including myself. Do your research. And so you can feel comfortable about the choices you make, right? And you want to be associating yourself with people who are going to give you the highest probability of being successful. You have a butt chin. uh, Hi, buddy. Lovely to see you again. Do you have any virtual assistants, or do you manage customer service alone? Right now I have 15 virtual assistants that I employ, 10 of which are full-time. Who's your freight forwarder? I use a variety of freight forwarders. I have one freight forwarder that I use for my students who is basically the cheapest possible. I always recommend international freight forwarders. USA-based freight forwarders will charge you a ton more for basically the exact same thing. So I'm going to jump back into the student group. On average, how long has all your product launches taken to stick to first page, giving from giveaways, PPC, backend keyword optimization? Have you ever had trouble giving away products from a launch website? I don't use JumpSend anymore, ever. I've never not been able to get a product to page one. One of the current products that I'm launching right now, I almost had to page one, but then we had this issue with PPC that lost a bunch of our momentum, so I'm building it back up right now. But once you understand how it works, you can always get to page one if you know how. It doesn't matter. Like there's nothing secret about it. Amazon's algorithm works in the same way every time, right? It's not like some products you can and some products you can't get to page one. If you know what you're doing and you have enough giveaway budget, you can always get to page one, right? And if you get to page one and you have enough reviews, which 10, 15 reviews, you have very beautiful pictures, right? You are going to stay there. That's just how it works. There's nothing mysterious about getting to page one if you know how to do it. Hey Kevin, as Amazon is expanding into Australia soon, is it worth us taking a chance that a product that sells in the UK will sell get in early, or would you recommend waiting to see what sells there? I always recommend being a fast mover, right? It's very rare. It's been a number of years since Amazon has actually entered into a primarily English-speaking country. And so Australia is going to be a very explosive marketplace for the people who do their planning correctly, right? You have to recognize that Australia has a very different climate than perhaps the UK. There's a lot more like beach towels and beach accessories and things like that are selling there. So, you can't just assume that you can directly translate one product from a market to the other, because there's cultural differences and things like that. But you have resources like Google Trends, right? Put it into Australia, compare that graph of whatever product in Australia versus the UK versus the US, right? Look at the sustained kind of momentum and popularity for different things. There's a ton of tools out there for you to be able to do product research. Don't ever guess. Just rely on the data and you'll be fine. My product is arriving next month. I made the listing, but it will arrive after the Q4 lockout. Do I need to worry? It's not toys and games. I don't think Amazon hasn't even set like an actual true date for the Q4 lockout. So I don't know why you think that it'll arrive after for sure. But if you have a active account, I would suggest getting one carton of your product in via air, and then shipping the rest via sea. If you can't do that and you already are committed via sea, reach out to seller support and say, hey, this is my very first shipment. I can show you my bill of lading documents and that proof that it is on its way. I really want to make sure that I don't get locked out for Q4. What can I do to prepare myself, right? Have you ever requested an early transfer to get a hold of funds earlier? How does that work, and are there any cons? No, I haven't. I've never really had a need to request funds earlier, Veronica, but I have heard of people that do. There are services out there that will front you the money for a specific fee and then take your disbursement once it comes every 2 weeks. Certain accounts with certain very positive metrics, Seller Central metric accounts, do have the capability of requesting daily money transfers if they wanted to. I don't see any cons with doing it that way necessarily, but just not all seller accounts are actually capable of doing it. Have you taken Seth's course? If so, what do you think of it? No, I've never taken Seth's course. He actually just called me the other day, though, and we chatted for a while. And he seems like a really cool guy, right? He and I were in very similar positions, right? I was working at Facebook, he was working at Apple, and we both had very pleasant jobs from an overall world perspective as far as everything that's available out there working for someone else, and we both chose to kind of branch off on our own and create something for ourselves, and we chose to help people. So I'm a huge fan of Seth and what he's doing, but I have not taken his course, but I'm sure, I'm sure it's quite good as well. If I were to use Experts Roundup on the top competitors for keyword planning, what would be the process outline be versus building your keywords completely manually? I mean, the process outline means that there's no process outline, right, Joe? I mean, if you watch the video that I put out on how to create profitable automatic PPC campaigns last night for the students, you'd see that it takes probably, if you know exactly what you're doing, it takes 10, 20, 30 minutes to create a manual master list that you're then deduping using Trace My IP to get your backend keywords, right? If you just use Expert Roundup on the top organic result for the highest volume keyword, that takes out all of that work, and you can just throw those directly into your backend keywords, leave them there for a week, then check what you're indexing for using the keyword index Chrome extension, and then anything you're not indexing for, remove, and then add anything that is profitable from your PPC campaigns into your backend keywords. Add any new kind of experimental keywords that you think might index. Wait another week and then see what's indexing, and then again remove anything you're not indexing for, and continue to iterate until you are maximally indexing for as many words as possible. I'm using an Alibaba freight forwarder. Do you recommend using those found on Alibaba website? I've never used an Alibaba freight forwarder. I can't imagine that they would be cheaper than the freight forwarder that I share with the full student group, Edwards. So I would recommend the freight forwarder that I share with you guys. And if you need to, her direct email contact information, then just message me. But I'm sure, it's not too bad. I'm sure that the Alibaba freight forwarders are better than the USA-based freight forwarders from a price perspective. But I can't imagine that they'd be cheaper than the one I have for all of you students. Hey Kevin, I'm about to start product research. Do you think I need both the Jungle Scout web version and the extension, or would you recommend one over the other to start with? I use the Chrome extension more. Kind of once you get really comfortable with product research, I think you'll start to use the Chrome extension more too. You can use it for storefronts, for bestseller, subcategories, for all of the different, kind of advanced topics that we talk about from a product research perspective. The web app is easier to kind of start with because you just put filters in, right? Press the button, and then it shows you a bunch of products, which is really helpful if you're kind of overwhelmed getting started for the very, very, very start, right? Because sometimes it's overwhelming just getting started, and the web app helps with that. When I'm in heavy periods of product research, I will use the Jungle Scout web app for 1 month and then cancel it. And I always use the Pro extension for the Chrome extension. So I would recommend the Pro Chrome extension for sure, and I would recommend the web app for at least 1 month. And if you don't know, Lizette, we offer really discounted versions of both the Jungle Scout Chrome extension and the Jungle Scout web app for the Ninja students. So definitely make sure you take advantage of all those discounts, because all the discounts that I work really hard to get you guys, they start to add up when you're using different software. You're using product photography, you're using viral launch services, you're using any different type of software that we need, right? Experts Roundup, Merchant Words. I have really good discounts for you guys on all of that, so definitely make sure you're taking advantage of it. Any ideas how to find out how well something sells if it is a subcategory and doesn't have a parent category? I've been using FBA Toolkit for the parent category, but not sure where to look for subcategories. Can you give an example, Jessica? I'm not sure that I understand your question. Hey Kev, I recently submitted my W-9 to support. What's the turnaround time before I start seeing the sales show up on the affiliate page? Your sales will still show up on the affiliate page, Kyle, whether or not you've submitted your W-9. This is actually a really annoying error that ClickFunnels has. When people submit their tax forms to me, the little notification in the ClickFunnels affiliate page still shows as not having submitted their tax form. And so I've been having my support respond, yes, we received your W-9, you're good to go, like don't worry about it, right? So you'll still have your sales show up and your affiliate commissions show up regardless of whether or not you've submitted your tax form. You just have to submit your tax form before you can actually be paid for all of your different affiliate commissions. How do you determine sales volume for a subcategory when choosing one to list in? Might be related to what Jessica Bolton was trying to ask. Sales volume for a subcategory. I mean, it doesn't really matter, right? Like whether it's a parent category or a subcategory, what you don't care if a product sells 1 a day or 1,000 a day, right? Because if it sells 1 a day and it's making $1,000 profit on that one sale, on like a jumbo jet or something, or you're selling 1,000 a day and you're making $1 each, you're still making 1,000 profit either way. So it doesn't matter about sales volume. What matters is about profit, which is why it's so important to use the Amazon FBA fee calculator. And I know it's sometimes hard to do that because you don't have the cost of goods sold estimate and you don't have the shipping estimate until you reach out to suppliers, until you reach out to freight forwarders to get those two pieces. But it's incredibly important to then, once you have an accurate, profit margin, then you can say, hey, this profit margin is 50% and it's selling 10 a day, right? And so maybe it's selling, $50 of profit a day versus, this is selling 100 a day at 50%. So maybe it's selling 500 in profit. So it's more important about profit per day, and how you derive that is by getting accurate quotes from suppliers and your freight forwarders to get cost of goods sold and shipping, and then accurately fill out that Amazon FBA fee calculator to get the accurate profit margins. Are you always using an inspection company? Yes, absolutely, Chris. Even on companies that I've been using for years, I still do, because sales managers change, quality assurance managers and executives change in these Chinese companies, right? I'd rather be safe than sorry. You don't ever want to have any surprises with Amazon where an entire shipment shows up and maybe your entire logo is a different color, or you don't have the same boxes, or it's a totally different product. It's always worth it when you get to a larger scale to have an inspection. And I did share the very cheap inspection. I think it's $100 a man day in the student group. So take advantage of that. $100 for peace of mind is 100% worth it. Trust me. You never ever want to have any surprises where your shipment arrives at Amazon and something's wrong. So always get that inspection. $100 is incredibly worth it. What is a good profit margin? A good profit margin is 50% or higher, say. With shipping and all of the different fees, storage fees, fulfillment fees, PPC costs, giveaway budgets. If you have a 50% margin, you'll eat all of that up, all of the expenses up. You'll eat that right into your margin, and then you'll have 70% of your order left as your profit, right? And so if you have a 50% margin, you can easily absorb all of the little expenses that just come with doing business as an entrepreneur. But if you're more in like the 30% range, give or take, or even 20%, it's just not as feasible to make any profit at all. If you start out with the 20% and then you have giveaway budgets, you have PPC expenses, you have all the little hidden expenses that kind of go as with doing business as any type of entrepreneur. So you want to give yourself a 50% margin or so. I'm going to hop back to YouTube really quick. We're going to do about 5 more minutes, guys. My voice is like giving out right now. How much does it cost to open up an LLC if you're not from the U.S.? You can open LLCs as a foreigner in a number of different ways, right? You can use Nevada or Wyoming. Wyoming has a registered agent service where they give you a U.S. address, they give you a U.S. mailing address, they do everything for you for 149 USD, which is an incredible deal. Where can I purchase UPC codes? So Amazon generally suggests now that you purchase UPC codes from GS1. GS1 is an originator of UPC codes, which means that they're brand new. They're not resold, but they're very expensive, right? So it's like $700+ per year for UPC codes, where you can go on something, a website like Nationwide Barcodes, and get 100 UPCs for $20. So I still personally use nationwidebarcodes.com for barcodes, and I think it would be incredibly difficult for Amazon to retroactively enforce GS1 barcodes. I think it would be very, very difficult for them to do that, and I think that it would be catastrophic to their overall catalog. I could foresee in the future, and I think what's most likely is that Amazon implements their own UPC system where they sell directly from Amazon to their third-party sellers, UPCs, or they enforce GS1 where you can't create a new product listing without a GS1 barcode. Until either of those two things happen, I'm going to continue using Nationwide Barcodes. Would you suggest creating an Instagram for the product to promote it? I have brands that have Instagram with 10,000 followers. I've seen some type of boost for it, especially during holidays. I think it can be worth it, but you want to maintain focus, right? If Instagram is what's driving your profitability, and you can prove it through traffic campaigns and things like that, then it's worth it. But if what's driving your overall bottom line is adding new products, then definitely make sure that you're focusing. Right? I think it's a very important exercise to kind of sit down and plot out, this is what I do with my life. I'm doing product research, I'm talking back and forth with suppliers, I'm building an Instagram account, right? I'm doing Facebook marketing, I'm doing Amazon PPC. And to try to assign, which of those activities is adding the most profit and positivity to your life and to your business, and then double down on those activities and cut out or outsource the activities that are not directly adding to your profitability as a business and your happiness as a human being. What do I mean by giveaway budget? So to get to page 1 when you launch a brand new product, Jason, you need to give away, you need to create 95% off coupon codes and give away enough products to simulate sales to basically fool Amazon's algorithm into thinking that your product does belong on page 1. Once you get to page 1 for any specific search results, if you have a high quality product and a number of reviews and good pictures, you can maintain it there. What do your VAs do that you need 15 of them? They do a lot of stuff. They do, initial supplier research. They do inventory for some of my accounts. I have social media marketers, right? I have VAs that do marketing for me. I have VAs that handle a lot of different things, right? Each one I basically hired one at a time as I needed new people to help me with certain stuff, and I'm very lucky to have the VAs that I do have. They save me an incredible amount of time. What do you think of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? I think Bitcoin is very interesting. I think that it's very helpful for developing nations to have Bitcoin as an option, right? With devalued currencies like the Venezuelan dollar, for example, having your investments in these kind of borderless currencies is going to be very important for these up and coming countries, and as well as with volatility in political environments such that Trump creates, it's important to have monetization strategies outside of the normal currencies. How much was your initial investment in Amazon FBA? It was $6,100, but I simultaneously launched 7 different products all at the same time, Fernando. I was quite confident in the overall business model. And so when I get confident about something, I kind of dive all in and focus all of my time on it till the very end. And so that's kind of how I started. But it's also just as good to start with one product, kind of get your feet wet. My personal style is to go all in. Could you put up a link for the LLC company for non-US residents just mentioned, please? Yeah, okay, yeah, Lenny just said it. It's the Buffalo Registered Agents. So just if you Google search Wyoming LLC Buffalo Registered Agents, you'll find it. Yeah, thank you, Angelo. All right, so I'm going to take like 1 or 2 more questions, guys, and then I'm going to get out of here. My throat is, my vocal cords are dying. All right, regarding the affiliate marketing, with the Facebook ads, do you just enter the affiliate custom link into the ad, or do you need to create a landing page / website in order to do FB ads? Any info is greatly appreciated. Many thanks. So you can do a couple of things, Courtney. I mean, you can create a quick landing page. It takes 2 seconds, right? You can create a ClickFunnels account. I have a discounted version of ClickFunnels for my students, right, where you can pay $20 a month for like 3 funnels, I think it is. And if you do it that way, then you can pixel people, right? And so if, let's say that somebody out there clicks on your ad, goes to your landing page, you pixel them, and what I mean by pixeling is you can then retarget them using Facebook and say, hey, this person came to my landing page, let's show them in the ad again. And when you retarget people, that is where you unlock the true beauty and magic and profitability of Facebook advertising. So if you don't have a landing page and you're driving directly to my webinar page, right, it's pixeling, I get to pixel them, which means I can retarget them. So using your own landing page allows you to retarget these people, which does eventually lead to a higher profitability and allows you to utilize retargeting, which is the way that you create truly incredible marketing campaigns, whether it's Google AdWords or Facebook marketing. But yes, you don't need a landing page, but if you do want to pixel and retarget, yes, you should set up a landing page. And just so you know, guys, that for the people out there who watch the affiliate marketing video, that campaign that I set up in the morning that had 5 conversions for $62, ended up with 11 conversions, all with the whiteboard ad, for a total of $132 for 11 conversions, 11 purchase conversions for the full course. So that was a very, very incredible campaign. And it's just showing you the power of these advertisements and affiliate marketing, how much money you guys can make if you are properly utilizing Facebook and affiliate techniques that I do talk about on my YouTube in my other videos. Two more questions and then I'm out of here. Is it better to start with 2 to 3 products instead of 1, or does it sound too risky for beginners' perspective? Paul, I mean, I started out with 7, so maybe I'm not the right person to ask, or maybe I am the right person to ask. I would rather personally have a product earning me a 50% profit margin than the same amount of money sitting in my bank earning 0.9% APR. Right? Would you rather earn 0.9% on your money or 50% on your money? And if you're utilizing the product research strategies that we talk about in the course, right, there's not that much risk, if any, right? You remove the risk by doing your due diligence up front, choosing these winning products, and then you're basically guaranteeing yourself 50% return on your money versus less than 1% if you're leaving that same amount of equivalent money in your bank account versus using that money to buy a product. So I always recommend the more profitable products you can add to your portfolio, the better, because that's when it starts to scale, and that is when you start to see the true magic of Amazon FBA. Do you have / use a detailed spreadsheet that breaks out COGS and first month profit and loss? Care to share? I mean, not really, Elliot. You don't necessarily need that. Make sure that you guys are not doing these tasks that are just kind of using your time without adding a ton of value, because every product is going to have a totally different cost of goods sold breakout. It's going to have totally different shipping costs, right? It's good to record that for your own accounting, but creating some complicated spreadsheet is not the best use of your time. Use your time to find more profitable products and grow and scale your Amazon FBA business. All right, guys, so I will take one last question. Let's see if there are any left. YouTube. All right, so so the I-99, the iTrack 999 tracking method is good, but I can't seem to find a definite pattern ever. It's driving me crazy. I've been in 3 months now without anything. Am I being too picky, or do I just have to have patience? So I mean, people usually ask me, how many days do I have to actually eye track something or use the 999 card trick before I stop, right? And it doesn't matter if it's 3 days or 7 days. All you need to see is a pattern. So if it's at 60 and then 55, 50, 45, 40, right? It's obviously selling 5 a day. If you see 40 and then 100 and then 5 and then 300, right? You can't tell what's going on. You can't tell if there are movements between Amazon FBA factories, whether they're restocking. You can't tell if some of their inventory is becoming available that was on hold. You just can't kind of tell what's going on. So make sure you're finding the pattern. If you can't find any type of patterns in anything you've been tracking for 3 months, definitely reach out to me, because that shouldn't be happening. You can find patterns in iTrack within 5 days. I usually recommend people find 20 to 50 different products that you're using, the methods we talk about for product research, and then you're narrowing that 20 to 50 down to maybe 10 based on iTrack numbers. You're narrowing that 10 down to 5, and then if those 5 are all amazing, then maybe you buy all 5, or maybe you narrow down to 3 or 1, and then go for the absolute best, guys. So that's kind of how it works. Find a bunch of products, narrow it down with iTrack, right? Narrow it down further with profitability based off cost of goods sold and shipping. Narrow it down further based on, profit per day for the product and the competitive landscape of that niche, so you can get in right away, right, and be super profitable right away. So thank you guys for coming onto this Amazon FBA Ninja question and answer session. My voice is about to die, but again, I love you guys like always, and I will see you next time. So take care.